Good evening and welcome. John Connolly here, high atop center ice at Dakota. Want to invite you to meet my line mate for today's game. Gonna give him a proper introduction.
Our analyst hails from Duluth, where he played for Denfeld High when they were the power in the 1980s. High school teammates of both Congressman Pete and gold medal winning Olympic coach Rob Stauber. He left high school early, unheard of at the time, and had a standout career with the Austin Mavericks of the United States Hockey League. He played 4 years at Merrimack College and settled back to the Twin Cities, where he has lived in Lakeville and Edina. His daughter was a member of the state champion 2018 High School Hornets. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brad Ace Atal.
Brad, we're back. Never gets old, does it? Never gets old. Never gets old. So, Brad, I'm going to play a couple quick introductions or interviews here. Had a chance to catch Lee Smith earlier this week. This is Coach Lee Smith of Eden Prairie.
I'm here with Lee Smith. The puck is about to drop before today's game, and at this point of the season, you've got a few games under your belt. What are your thoughts as you've been working with the team this far and how they're coming together?
Well, I really like how we've progressed as the course of the season. Offensively, we've become really dynamic, and hopefully we'll settle in defensively and get better at that.
It's an interesting group when you look at the number of college commitments in the state. Eden Prairie's got almost as many as anybody. So in some ways, this team is wearing that bullseye, the burden of high expectations. So what are your hopes for what the team could ultimately be as we get to the postseason in March?
Well, we know we got to continue to get better to reach the Minnetonkas, the Chaskas, the teams in our section. We got to worry about that first. We know we got a good late conference schedule coming up, so we know we're going to play a lot of good teams from now until the end of the season. We just want to get better every time we get on the rink.
Lee, I know you've been to the highest level. You've won a couple state championships. Is there anything that's the same about this group, and that just the team culture, or different, or what's fun about these guys to be around?
Well, I think we got a couple things. One, we have some really good veteran leadership, and that always helps. And then we have some sprinkling in of some really talented youth that add some jam to our lineup.
Awesome. Well, I wish you guys well in the Hockey for Life Classic and the season ahead. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, and thanks for doing the tournament.
I love it. I love it. Adding some jam to the lineup are those younger players for Eden Prairie. Also had a chance to hear from Lakeville's coach.
Yes, thank you.
We're just moments before the drop of the puck. I'm here with Coach Trent Eigner. So, Trent, we saw each other at the opener back over Thanksgiving weekend, and whatever you thought you had, I know things got upset beginning of the season with some injuries, and now I'm hearing you think you got all the players back. So where's the team status at this point of the season?
I would say, honestly, we're probably about 2 weeks away from being back to square one with a full lineup in terms of we're going to get some guys back, but I don't consider your first game back anything to be really excited about. It's going to take a couple weeks for the guys to get their feet under them. It does create an interesting dynamic with some healthy competition, kind of 8 games in for spots in the lineup and playing time, which is probably what we'll go through some growing pains the next couple of weeks to figure out what we got.
It's kind of hard to complain about the tournament and how strong the field is to the guy that put it together, because you're one of the guys that put the Hockey for Life together and has some say in it. So what a great field. We've had a couple great games so far. Lakeville North has 3 quality opponents this week, and super exciting. So how do you coach knowing that you're about 2 weeks away from being where you want to be personnel wise, but you got these top quality opponents and you've got to throw to the wolves basically for the 3 games this week?
Well, it's definitely sink or swim for some kids. I mean, that's the ice time they beg for, though, and then they get it and see what they can do with it. So it's, you just make the best of the situation as you can. We certainly have some guys that, 3 weeks from now will be far more experienced than they would have been having watched from the bench a little bit. So, I think we all look forward to getting healthy and creating a little more offense, which is what we lost due to injury. But by and large, I think that the guys that have stepped in there and performed admirable job, worked hard at, done what we've asked. And the field is super competitive, and I think that as a coach, that's what you want. I mean, if you can guarantee yourself 3 good matchups over the holidays, it's a kind of a good litmus test before you get to the halfway point, so we're thrilled with that.
And let's hope it's not the only time you play 3 games back to back this year. Coach Eigner, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So, Brad, we've heard from both coaches. The players have been introduced. We've had the national anthem, and we're getting ready to go. Got some disappointing news here that walking around in front of us with his shoulder up in a sling and plain clothes is Sam Ennebeck. He was injured, if you remember, back at the opener over Thanksgiving. Tried to play. He's got an upcoming surgery planned for a torn labrum. Yesterday went down in a pile on the ice, threw off his glove, immediately grabbed his shoulder, and the prognosis is that he's actually going to have to shut it down for that attempt to play through the pain, actually have that procedure he's done for the year. So disappointing start to today's game, as another reminder that Lakeville North kind of the walking wounded, and Ennebeck is no longer able to play. He's out for the rest of the season with an injury.
Yeah, it's always tough to see players go down of any level, and kids put the hard work in, and when you got to shut it down with a serious shoulder injury, that's bad. It's bad news.
Well, thanks for joining me again. We did the last one. We're going to have trouble topping that. In case you didn't know, Chaska 4, Edina 3. Hornets led early 3-0, and after that got a little bit hairy for the Hornets as Chaska crawled their way back into it. Had a good bounce, made it 3-1, and then outplayed them through the third period, making it 3-3 late in the game. 6 minutes to go, a major penalty followed by a minor gave Chaska 5-on-3. That's all they needed. It was Kester with the game winner on a pass from Pitlick. They win 4-3. So Chaska goes 3-0. They are the top team here at the Hockey for Life. This game's got a little bit different flavor. Eden Prairie enters this one, and they are 1-1. They beat Moorhead fairly easily yesterday. It was late, 1-1, but then 3 goals in a minute, and then Katie bar the door too late, and they make it 6-1. And also 1-1. We've got Lakeville North, overtime winners over Prior Lake on Thursday, lost yesterday to Stillwater. So one of these teams is probably going to leave with a 2-1 winning record, and the other one, going to start the new year and go back to the drawing board.
It's interesting. I'm looking at just what time these games are being played and who's playing at what time, and kind of that first game where Edina had the first 2 games at the last game, and the previous, Chaska had the earlier games, and as the game went on, Chaska was well rested.
On this one, Eden Prairie playing at the same time, 5 o'clock that they played yesterday, and then they had the noon game on Thursday. So they've had 24 hours or more start to start. And Lakeville North, they've kind of stayed in the middle, 5, 2:30, and now 5. So Lakeville North, they are wearing white, red pants, black numbers. Looking out, it's a big wrister here off the stick of Rudrud. Eden Prairie is wearing gray. Eden Prairie wears gray, and they've got black shoulders, red accents. In goal for Eden Prairie, that's been an interesting one. It's Engelbrecht. He came to this tournament on the JV roster, played yesterday, and he gets the nod again. They're still sorting things out back in the goal, and looking the other direction. Team has been alternating so far this year. It's Johnson in goal for Lakeville. They're comfortable feeling both Johnson and Mayer are both strong goaltenders. Out to the neutral zone. It's onto the stick of Carter Batchelder. Batchelder gains the red line, dumps it down, and chip and chase. First one to arrive is the defender, Munson. Munson's a very impressive sophomore. He's highly touted, and Brad, he played varsity hockey last year as a 9th grader, didn't play Bantams.
And some kids, they just feel they're ready sooner than later.
He's one of those. He's joined on the blue line by 2 other sophomores. They come off of the Bantam team. So youth core in effect here for Lakeville North. They're well served for years to come on defense. Munson on retreat. It's going to go for an icing call. Eden Prairie, on the other hand, they've got senior heavy in places. And they've also got enough returning that they're my pick to be the top public school in Minnesota next year with a lot of highly skilled players. Eden Prairie gave us a line chart to start this weekend. 3 centers, all college committed, 1 a senior, 1 a junior, 1 a sophomore. This is Jack Jensen, one of my favorite players in the center spot. He wears 18, and he's committed to the University of Minnesota. Behind the goal, here comes Scholes. Scholes has had a great weekend. Chips this one up ahead, and Scholes played maybe a little bit more in the first game than he did yesterday, but Scholes a little bit deeper on the line chart. They're without Keegan Langfels, so they're getting to be a little bit stretched as to who they use. Note number 3, Brad, that is Sam Pajor. We were given a line chart. Program has him down as a forward. Pajor, or defenseman, Pajor has been moved up to forward on a line with Middlestat and Jensen. And then conversely, Krebsbach went back. He did a great job on defense. Krebsbach, listed as a forward, he's doing a great job yesterday after playing forward on Thursday. We'll see if they have him on the blue line or up front. Interesting storylines. This is Middlestat. Boom goes the dynamite. Early goal. First shot of the game, I think. Well, I guess they say it's the 3rd or 4th, but major laser, top corner, snipe. Middlestat, that's John Middlestat. He makes this one 1-0 for Eden Prairie.
You know, he's on his forehand at that point, and he just keeps going laterally across the slot and kept walking. The D couldn't keep up with him and got in his position where he wanted, and he knew exactly what he was going to do.
He's an interesting player. Both him and his brother, Luke. Luke wears number 27. John and Luke, college committed to Minnesota. Significant because they were recruited under the Motzko regime since the coaching change. He's a highly productive forward. He came to this tournament with 18 points in 9 games. He's added to that total here. But he didn't have a huge sophomore year. You know, it's interesting. He's a great player, but it just shows the adjustment. Some players stepping up to the varsity as a sophomore may not be able to get on the game sheet like they're going to be when they're an upperclassman.
Kids just develop at different times, and, you know, kudos to him for persevering, putting the work in the summer, and having a good junior year.
He's a great kid. Had a chance to meet some of these players. We did a series of player profiles. You see those between period 2 and 3, and, you know, real refreshing to meet such nice kids. Rudrud doesn't quite get enough of the stick on it. It sails off his stick just wide. And heavy on the forecheck. The shot totals are perking up. 4 shots on goal against 0 for the Panthers. We're still in the early going here, but Eden Prairie leads 1-0, and they're on the attack. This one's played out onto the stick of Levens. Levens manages to clear the zone, goes off for the line change, and on retreat, here is sophomore Cam Langfels. Stretch pass out all the way to Rudrud. He gets a stick on this and tips it. And Brad, would you know, Rudrud has a brother. He's on the University of Minnesota Golden Gophers basketball team. Think about your life as a hockey parent, rink to rink to rink all those years, and you assume there's this parallel universe maybe with the basketball families going from gym to gym to gym all over the state and traveling to tournaments, and 2 worlds that don't collide very much. But put yourself in the Rudrud family shoes. They went down both roads.
You know, sometimes you don't like cold weather. That might be the route.
A big shot and a save here, covered up by Engelbrecht. So kind of getting my feet under me here as we're into this game. It's game 3 of 4 today, game 11 of 12 at the Hockey for Life. I didn't have a chance to talk to Tony between the games. I don't know if there is a crown, but it would go to Chaska. They run the table 3-0. They would be your Hockey for Life champions. And as I've alluded to many times, not during this game, but yet to win a game has been Prior Lake. They've got the nightcap against St. Thomas, and they're going to look to get a win. Otherwise, they're going to leave with a bad taste in their mouth as the host team on their home rink. They sure don't want to lose 3 nights in a row. Face-offs controlled over in the direction of Argetsinger, but a very nice forecheck here from Spencer Schneider. Schneider's got that big wrist shot, and he scored with a laser in the opening tournament, opening game of the season. And what's interesting about it is that a different color analyst, and he said, oh, I love that kid's wrist shot. So I'm not the only one that notices. You don't see many wrist shots anymore, and Snyder can fire it. 11:30 remaining in this period. On the forecheck is Eden Prairie, but a nice breakout played over to Pearson in front of them. The Lakeville North bench chipped in deep on the pursuit. It's Griffin. Well, Griffin peels off and goes off for a line change, realizing his teammates went off. John gains the neutral zone, gains the red line, and cuts around Connick, trying to fight in front of the benches. Connick has the puck pop onto his stick and brings it in wide. Wrist shot from a wide angle, sails just wide on the far side and all the way out to the neutral zone. Jensen's tired, he goes off. That's a common refrain. There's a kid that gives it all every shift, and he logs heavy minutes for the Eagles. Scholes, counter move. This one bobbles out, and now it's on to the stick of Holt. Holt, first time we've called his name today. He was a hugely prolific scorer on that Bantam team last year. Eden Prairie, one of the top Bantam teams in the state. And he's known for a big shot. Little guy known for a big shot, Brad.
You know, I was just paying attention to Coach Smith's line rotation, and he had 2 centers, Jensen and Middlestad out there. So just trying to maybe put Lakeville away sooner than later.
They did. You're right. They did move the lines after the first day, and what was once 3 centers. I printed the line charts out based on what they told me before the first day, and we saw that a lot yesterday with Jensen and Middlestad, and then joining them, Pejor. So a lot of rotation within the Eden Prairie lineup week to week, and it's really no different than last year. I announced about 5 of their games, and it seems like every time I went over and asked for a line chart, it was guys, like, oh, it's like tear it down and start it all over. So they won't settle in for a while if history's any guide, but real nice knowing that the coach has been to the state tournament and won it 2 times. Lee Smith, longtime Eden Prairie Eagles coach. He's got a group here. I'm curious to see how far he can go with them. It's an interesting team. They're both young and old, and they've got a lot of high-level players. They've got a 1-0 lead here. We're about 7 minutes into the game, and managing to kick it out to the neutral zone is Levens. On retreat, it's Horton. Horton plays it back up to Scholes. Scholes gets this one up ahead, and it bounces off the stick of Rudrud. A little bit offside.
Earlier we were talking about how Smith kind of plays different lines and tries different things. It's like a mad scientist in a good way. You figure out what you have during the regular season. You don't tinker along, once you get to the playoffs, because you got to see who can do what with who. And also keeps kids on their edge, or not on their edge, but keeps them on their toes in the sense that they know I got to perform and put the time in, or a coach might put someone else in.
And you mentioned the tinkering. One of the things I know they're really looking forward to is that Carson Jones, of all the returning forwards, I think he was their second highest scorer from last year. Carson Jones is yet to play this year. He just started skating, and the coaches and the team and the players I've talked to have all said, oh, he just started skating. And they're super excited to get Jonesy back. So Carson Jones not dressed today, but as soon as that calendar rolls over to January, it won't be long before he gets onto the ice. It's going to be interesting to see where he fits into the mix, and that'll be another opportunity for them to tinker a little bit. And, there's always room for good players on any team, and, everybody's going to have to just find a way to make it work. So I'm very curious to see what happens when Jones comes back. Just wide of the mark is Smith. Smith with that center lane rush, and now it's a chance out front for Schneider, and 2 quick saves and a cover by goaltender Engelbrecht.
Nice rush by Lakeville on that one. They had numbers, and F1 takes it wide. F2 goes to the net and almost got it by the Eden Prairie goaltender.
Face-off is controlled by Eden Prairie's Jensen. Wrapping it around is Luke. Kept in at the blue line, however, or their right side by defender Pearson for Lakeville North. This time it is flung outside the zone, but it goes the length of the ice. We get an icing call. So Brad's using some coach speak here, F1, F2, F3, and in case you're not so hockey familiar, the first player, it's less about whether you're a wing or a center. The first player in deep is usually referred to as forechecker number 1, first one to arrive on the scene. And what the second and third would do would depend on what the defenders do trying to find their breakout. So the stretch pass all the way up to Jensen. Jensen works against Munson. And a very Minnesota shift here as we have a Jensen and a Munson. And you don't know how Minnesota that is until you live away somewhere else for a while. And I don't think I met a Johnson in 23 years in Florida. Isn't that crazy? So big shot steered off to the side by the goaltender. Here comes Luke. Luke plays a breakout in front of the Eden Prairie bench. Pajor looking good, playing forward. Defenseman last year, defenseman on the roster, defenseman so far this season. They're moving him up to forward to see what he can do. And as we saw in the game that just ended, we get a slashing call there. The loose grip here from Jensen. When somebody went to knock the stick, it popped out of his hand and draws the minor. And you're going to have a Lakeville player look at the ref and say, but he wasn't holding the stick hard enough. But those pleas usually fall on deaf ears. And what did I tell you? He's talking to him. Oh, what do you mean? He wasn't holding the stick. You got to be kidding me. Oh, he called interference. I thought they call a slash, but we had one of those earlier, Brad. So I always say that the first few shifts set the tone of the game, and the first penalty might turn the momentum. Opportunity here for the Eagles to go up 2-0. A kill would be big for the Panthers.
Yeah, definitely the Panthers need to keep this tight. I like to think that Eden Prairie with their puck movement is going to get plenty of good quality chances.
Out top to Luke. He plays this one over in the direction of John. Little brotherly act here. John out top to Luke. Shooting off the pass is John, and it's up into the grill. We get a penalty right back here going off for Eden Prairie. Looks like it's going to be Smith whistled on the play. Now it's 4-on-4, just 17 seconds in, Brad. It's going to open things up a bit.
Yeah, that negates the power play there, but you're right. It should open it up, and as I would suspect, North brings out Schneider. He's most dangerous with room on the ice, so 4-on-4 is always good.
With this rule book, a penalty there brings the puck all the way down for a face-off in the Eden Prairie end. So Lakeville North has gotten back to even strength. It's 4-on-4, not full strength, but even. And they have also gained the zone. Face-off is won by Smith, but he won it so cleanly, Brad, right through the uprights, and he sends Pearson on retreat. Pearson back into his own end. He's got Munson if he wants him, skates it out instead. Then he chooses that Munson option. Munson with a snap pass through the neutral zone. Smith pulls it over to his forehand, and a shot comes from a wide angle. Big quick release there from Schneider, and you noticed Smith banging it off the back of the goalie stick, trying to get one from behind the end line. Jensen up over the crossbar. You never know who you're going to meet at Hockey for Life or any ice rink. Walking the Commons, and guess who I saw? Grandma Susie. She introduced herself and said that Jack Jensen is her grandson, and I told her she's going to want to get home, watch that between-paired interview. Jack's actually our host. He was interviewed earlier this weekend, and Carson Jones was the host. Now we flip the script. It's going to be Jack Jensen interviewing Carson Jones between period 2 and 3. You don't want to miss that. Also, Spencer Schneider interviewed by A.J. Anello. Anello back in the lineup this week, his first games of the year. He had a great game yesterday. He's in the face-off circle. Brad, you may recall, he missed the opening weekend, called the opener, because of a little gym class injury right before the start of the hockey season.
Yeah, I remember he was down. In fact, I saw him Christmas night at a friend's house down in Lakeville. So AJ showed up, and I introduced myself and said I'd see him on Saturday night.
Well, that's awesome. And, you know, one of the things I've tried to do is bring in color commentators with familiarity with the program. So Thanksgiving, we had Brad doing Lakeville. Jamie Langenbrunner was kind enough to join me for Cloquet. Chorsky did a period yesterday before he rested his voice for the Wild game. And he's got a son on Edina and so on and so on. Ryan Kraft from Moorhead, he's telling me, I know all the families. I know all of these kids' parents. It's just that type of community. So that's awesome. So you saw him Christmas break. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he said he's back and feeling good, getting his stamina back.
Well, he had a real good game 2 of the 3-game weekend. You would never have guessed that he'd missed part of the season. So good to see AJ Anello back. Last time around Thanksgiving, he was even on crutches. So it's good to have him back. Back to the action here. We've got 5 seconds left until both teams are 5-on-5. That is the end of the penalty to Smith. So it's 5-on-5, both teams full strength. And that little 4-on-4 really didn't result in a whole lot of activity around the net. A little bit of end-to-end, but nobody really could get anything going.
You're right there, but when you look at tinkering at the lineup, and we're talking just about Eden Prairie, they've been playing 3 goalies to this point. They just brought up a goaltender from the JV squad, so I think what you got to do is you just got to test their goalies. Maybe that's an area where Eden Prairie's not as sharp as they want to be at this point.
So maybe the message from the coaches would be there's no bad shot. Got to find out what he can do, and don't get stuck making 3-4 passes looking for the perfect one. Just get pucks to net.
Absolutely.
Good insight, Brad. Back to the action here. It's onto the stick of Kranz, and Kranz can't quite pull off a Kenny Wu neutral zone maneuver, and eventually the puck chips over to Hansen. Hansen throws it out to the neutral zone, and everybody tags up for Eden Prairie. Hansen runs into his own player, and now he's got his teammate's stick to contend with. That allows Eden Prairie to keep the puck in deep, and a little tip there. The shot came off a little Ajord, and Bat Shelder got a stick on it and bobbled up into the stomach of Johnson, who gets the quick cover. 4:58 remaining first period. Eagles have a lead on that early goal. It was scored by John Middlestat. John Middlestat put Eagles up 1-0. That's where we stand right now.
You look at North, and they really have a 1-2 or a 1-1 goaltending duo there, and I think that's the strength of their team is their goaltending, and obviously they're keeping them in the game right now.
So Grandma Susie's grandson out here, Jack Jensen, goes on a bit of a guitar solo, but eventually he just ran into too many white jerseys. It's chipped out by Smith. Jensen came to this weekend. He played 8 games, 10 goals, 8 assists. Brad, in 2 games here, 4 goals, 3 assists. That puts him at 14-11, 25 points in just 10 games so far this year.
Must like the ice sheet here.
He's just a spectacular player, and he missed a game. It was an unfortunate incident. There was a really, I'm not going to get too descriptive. There was what I thought was kind of a borderline call. Looked like a pretty good check, but the player wasn't expecting it, and didn't result in a minor penalty. It was a 5 in a game, so he missed the Edina game. And I think one of the things that it does is, as much as everyone was at the pre-holiday tournament saying, oh, it's too bad, no Jensen, I would have loved that Edina game, I think it only builds the suspense for when they meet each other in league play for the first time. Jack Jensen is one of the few players in Minnesota that can single-handedly make a difference against a great team. A lot of guys might be able to go dominate against, the bottom half teams, but when you're talking those top 5, top 10 teams, who could really run over them? It's Jensen in a short list, and I think it builds the suspense for when they run into Edina again that he missed that first game.
Well, there's no doubt. When you look at the Lake Conference and the games they get going, Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, Edina, it's his meat grinder game after meat grinder game, and those are some very, very good games. So there's no doubt the suspense will be there.
New look Lake Conference coming up pretty soon. I know St. Michael Albertville is one of the 2 teams they added. I think the other one might be Buffalo, but don't quote me on that. But going to be a little bit different and maybe not quite as intense when you have those rivalries down around those southwest suburbs. Chipped in deep by Connick. Everybody on Lakeville North goes off for the line change, and it's a full 5. Eden Prairie's got no problem bringing it out to the red line, but guess what? Like an Army, 5 white jerseys coming after him, and bringing it out wide is Luke. Luke runs into some static. The goaltender kicks it aside. Now he's got it over on the sidewall, evades the check, and makes a nice pass down low to Rudrud. Rudrud cycling over to Smith. Smith, Rudrud. Big save here by goaltender Johnson, and Eden Prairie still has the puck. Smith down low. He was looking for, I think Luke is, no, that's no longer Luke. We've got Will Height down low, the other Sam, and big wrister. This one steered aside by Johnson. Out to the blue line. Another opportunity for Schultz. Scholes fakes over to the defenseman, but dumps it down deep instead, and he sends his forwards in on the forecheck. Less than 3 minutes to go in this period, Brad. 3 minutes to go. It's 1-0 Eden Prairie still. What are your thoughts? You know, we talked about maybe things were settling in at the beginning of the game. Now that we're at the latter parts of this period, you know, what are your thoughts about what Lakeville might be able to do to generate a little bit more offense, or do they just wait for maybe an odd man rush or a penalty power play opportunity?
Well, obviously that'll help open things up for them. You know, they're only down 1-0. Shots, it seems like Eden Prairie's controlling the play much more, but they're in a tight game. It's kind of like that previous game, Edina and Chaska. All of a sudden, you just need one, and your momentum starts going.
Santiago clears it out to the neutral zone. It's grabbed by Pejor. Couple passes, and it winds up onto the stick of John Middlestat. John Middlestat down in the corner, loses it, and breakout opportunity. And Nello over to Santiago. Santiago overskates a little bit and kind of winds up getting up in the mitt. They stop the play. One of those that popped up in the jersey or the glove, and you know, carrying it like a football player. Eventually, it pops out, and they say, "We got to stop play. You can't skate 2 strides with the puck in your jammies."
Yeah, I have to commend the fans coming out to these games. Another good crowd. The last game.
Last game was pretty much a packed house. You know, you might have been able to scooch some people over and find a seat, but certainly full here at Prior Lake. And that's what you get when you bring in the high-powered teams that they did for the Tradition Youth Hockey Hub Hockey for Life Christmas tournament. Munson shot gets deflected off to the sidewall. Still 2 minutes, 15 seconds to go in the first period. 2 minutes, 15 seconds to go, and this is a seeing eye puck that gets off of a skate boot and goes just wide. Jensen fires this one out toward the neutral zone, stolen by Santiago, but he carries it till he runs into someone and loses the puck. Banging down low is Schneider.
This is definitely Lakeville's line that gets the offense going and kind of turns the momentum for them. So I'm not surprised to see them, you know, put a good forecheck and a good flurry on.
Teams had to withstand a lot of injuries so far this year, and a name that we haven't called yet. I'm trying to, all the games are running together. I apologize, trying to remember what happened. I'm wondering if Griffin got hurt yesterday, and maybe I forgot about it. He'd been hurt earlier this year, one of their top forwards, and talked to a scout from a junior team. He said, "I love Griffin. He's one of my favorite players. I think he would do great post-high school." But I haven't called his name yet, Brad. I wonder if he might be hurt today and not playing.
He could be. You know, talking with Jake Annebeck earlier, I don't recall because we were talking about Sam Annebeck and his shoulder injuries, but Griffin was the one that got hurt against Cloquet in game number 1.
70 seconds to go in the period. Stretch pass doesn't quite connect. Luke grabs this one. Counter move, brings this up ice. And, you know, it's like a barbell team here. We've got a lot of players for Eden Prairie straight off of last year's Bantam team, 10th graders. I must be counting, 6 of them? Batchelder, Holt, Langefels, Luke. Maybe it's just 4, seems like more. And then the other end of the spectrum, a whole lot of seniors, not a lot of juniors in between. Chip and chase on the pursuit is Batchelder, and big hit there delivered in the corner. Eventually it's Lee that pops out with it. You've got a little fun fact about Lee.
Yeah, his father's a referee in the NHL, and he's probably been in the league, I would say, a good 10 years at least. And, you know, the life of a NHL referee, it's a lot of miles. And I know that when the holidays come, his dad gets home, the NHL will give him a nice layup and let him work the wild game the night before Thanksgiving or the night before Christmas.
Oh, those guys do such a good job. You know, you look at the level of play and the speed. You get to those professional levels. That's the end of the first period, folks. 1-0 for Eden Prairie. You get to those higher levels, and certainly the NHL. It's just insane how good the officiating is. They got to be able to skate to keep up with the fastest players in the world and make these bang calls. A lot of judgment. So we're going to take a quick break here, Brad. We'll get your thoughts about this period when we come back for the start of period 2. Have a great guest for you. It's actually an interview that's so nice I'm going to run it twice. Peter Krieger is a senior for UMD. He plays on the national champions. He was the leading scorer of all their forwards last year. You won't believe how he got there if you haven't heard this story. 25 years old, college senior, UMD. Big winners over, I think, Mankato last night down in Arizona. And I think it fills the whole break, about 12 minutes, so enjoy. Peter Krieger filmed over in the Woodbury area just days ago, and he shares his thoughts on what kids could do to reach higher levels of hockey.
All right, this is John Conley. I'm here with Peter Krieger.
How's it going?
Peter, very, very good. So I wanted to spend a few minutes today and talk about your hockey path. It's a very interesting story. But why don't we start out? It's airing between periods of a high school game.
Yeah.
Let's reminisce a little bit about your high school days.
Yeah, so I went to St. Thomas Academy back in 2008 to 2012. Great time there. Was fortunate enough to win 2 state championships my junior and senior year. I loved everything about St. Thomas, from the coaching staff to the school, hockey program. Everything was just top notch, and yeah, I had a great time there.
So coming out of high school, you'd mentioned to me that you had felt like you were a pretty good player, had some success as an individual, and obviously had very successful teams, played in the Elite League. Then you played in the Ted Brill Grade 8 tournament for some, I think, uncommitted seniors. But what were your options at that point if you wanted to continue playing hockey, and then what did you end up doing?
Yeah, I at that time I hadn't had any college offers or any big deals, I guess you could say, but I guess just trying to play at the next level, and for me that was juniors, and initially I'd hoped that would be at the USHL level, which I had wanted it to be, and unfortunately that wasn't the case, as I had to get shoulder surgery right after the Ted Bill Grade 8 tournament there after my senior year, and which I ended up then going to play my first year juniors in the North American Hockey League, and in Aberdeen, that is, and so that was my first year of juniors and my first option, and it was a great experience.
So there's an expression that life isn't about what happens to you, it's more about how you respond, and that might have been first disappointment in this long hockey journey, not playing at the level that you thought, and a little slow to get the college recruitment. You had a good year at the NAHL, and then the next year wound up having a great year with the Waterloo USHL team. So now you're getting to be a couple years past high school, and I don't know that everybody understands how old college players are. You're not 18, right?
Yep.
So, then just walk maybe through what the recruiting process is like, and what you did to stay in the right frame of mind to make the most of the opportunities that you had.
So I guess, I personally wasn't a big fan of the recruiting process. Just it kind of seemed to me a little, I don't know, kind of like, they want you if other people want you kind of thing, and some teams anyways, and some teams might not be that way, but that's just kind of how the recruiting process works. But anyways, I didn't really know much about, colleges or college hockey, but I know that I wanted to play, and getting the chance, I kind of just jumped on my first offer that I had, which was from Alaska Fairbanks, which I played 2 years of college up there. But, I think looking back, you kind of got to take your time and analyze, what team you're going to go to, kind of style of play and everything like that. But I mean, for me, the recruiting process was kind of different and interesting, because you never really know what teams or coaches want, and they're not always upfront and honest with you, which, I mean, you'd probably rather have it be that way, but it's just kind of what it is.
So, now we're post-junior, you're in your 20s playing college hockey, you're in Fairbanks,
Yep.
And that's in an age where a lot of people's hockey career may veer into the ditch, if you will. I like the Fairbanks sweater that you have on here. We got the Fairbanks sweatshirt. So something happened. So let's talk about that. So you wound up leaving Fairbanks and wound up in Duluth, and must have taken a lot of courage and conviction to make a college transfer. When you were in a good spot, good environment, you're playing a lot, even as a sophomore.
Yeah. I was in a really good spot. I did enjoy my time in Alaska. I enjoyed the guys on the team, and the life experience that came with living in Alaska, and it was a good experience. However, for me, I felt like being in a situation where it played more kind of my style of play would be a better fit for me, which then would be a better fit for the team. And in that process, I reached back to some old coaches and talked to a lot of junior coaches that I had played for, and my coach in Waterloo helped me out a lot, and kind of just talked me through everything, and I asked him kind of what my options were, if I had any options, and what he thought I should do, and that's pretty much what led me to the transfer process and asking for my official release from Alaska.
Minnesota's hockey culture is one of, if not the best in America, so it's only fitting that one of the best hockey camps in the world is right here in Nisswa.
This is Dan Germanson. Welcome to Minnesota Hockey Camps. We are gearing up for our 39th summer based in Nisswa, Minnesota in the beautiful Brainerd Lakes area. At MHC, there is a culture that breeds success. We offer resident and day camps for boys and girls of all ages from mites to NHL, 9 weeks throughout the summer.
We've had probably 700 NHLers come through here.
We have 32 hockey-related activities per week. Over the years, we have had close to 400 professional players come through our camp, including Division I, Stanley Cup, and Olympic champions.
I'm a little surprised that this camp is still here. To be honest with you, we thought it would be about a 20-year run, and it actually got better.
Visit our website at mnhockeycamps.com. Registration opens January 1st for 2019.
So, it involves a transfer at the Division I level, involves out a year, and you mentioned when we spoke earlier about an 18-game losing streak in junior hockey, and inevitably the common theme for people like you that continue to play and have successes is there's also a lot of potholes and veers along the way. So one of the things that I think impresses me in talking to you is that you've made it your goal to make the most of every opportunity. So as hockey parents, we're watching a high school game, as hockey parents maybe thinking about high school age players, what advice would you have for them? What is it that they should be doing? What is it that you did that everybody else wasn't? Because not everybody can tell your story.
Yeah, and I think that opportunity is a big thing too, right? But like you said, and not everyone gets that opportunity. But what I tried to do is, because I didn't know what opportunity I was or wasn't going to get, is just be as prepared as I could for whatever opportunity came my way, whether that was a chance to play a top minute role or top high minute role or not. I just wanted to be successful and help the team in whatever role that was on the team and opportunity I got. And pretty much the way I figured that out was just what I could do that set my game and myself apart from the guy that was wanting my job, or because it's a job after high school for the most part. What I did extra that the next guy wouldn't do. That's kind of what drove me in the off season and even in season doing more things. If someone's going to go and just go to practice and work out and then go home, well, I'm going to go to practice, work out, and I'm going to shoot 100 pucks and then go home. So just trying to set myself apart in any way that I can. And like I said, you're not always going to get every opportunity you want or that you think you deserve, but making sure that you're ready for whatever opportunity comes your way, and I think is the biggest thing, and capitalizing on those opportunities when you do get them.
So, I have been around hockey as a player, parent, administrator, and, I think it's very evident when you watch a squirt game, what I would call visible gifts, and you see the player that may be dominant, he's faster, skilled, scoring all the goals. But I've always thought underneath that there's the invisible gifts, and what you just described, I'm saying, and you don't look any different than other kids your age, but what you described is you had this gift where you kept a positive frame of mind, had a lot of conviction in yourself, and were willing to make the sacrifices. Everyone says they want to be successful. Not everybody's willing to do the things it takes to be successful. So just paraphrasing, I think those are some of the things that maybe today's high school players playing in this game that we're watching could learn from the experience of Peter Krieger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you said, you got to, talk is cheap kind of thing. You got to go out and do it. If you want to do something, I think, for the most part, a lot of people have the ability to go and, better their game, better their self, and be a better teammate. And in the end, I think that's going to give them the best chance to be successful in life, and then also be to a successful hockey career.
So, successful year. You were a junior last year, University of Minnesota Duluth. Everybody knows they had a very good year, and I heard you showed up in practice the other day, flashing the bling for the kids to see.
Yeah, it was a pretty special opportunity, and especially getting to bring it back to St. Thomas. The tradition of the players and coaching staff there, that we always go back and in the wintertime or anytime that we get a chance to help the guys out, and I try and help them out in the summertime too, wherever. Just an option for them to go to and talk to, or run things by, but always special when you get to go back Christmas time. And I brought my ring back. Unfortunately, I didn't bring it today, so apologize about that. But and just share that moment with old teammates and current coaches and former coaches and et cetera. It's a pretty special and unique thing.
Yeah. So I heard stories. Made a big impact, and that's all about giving back. And I think St. Thomas and other quality programs really have a history and a legacy, and people, when they're done, give back and want to be there to inspire the next wave, and the players currently, they'll do the same. And we have a lot of stories, not just you. Peter Tufto's doing very, very well in his college career, and Mark Mackesy, one of the St. Thomas coaching staff, said a similar thing, where it wasn't the obvious kid that was going to go on to greatness, but somebody that really more earned over time working for it. So credit to you guys. So senior year, middle of the season, UMD is doing very, very well. You're gonna have another good season, and then college hockey ends. So why don't you just wrap it up? Maybe tell us what's next in your life.
Yeah. So I guess in the immediate future, I guess Christmas break, and then I head back to school here in a couple days, and we got the rest of the season. Got to make a strong second half push, and look to defend our national championship and go for back-to-back, which is something that hasn't been done in a long time. 2004 or 5 maybe with Denver. I think it was the last time that happened. So good second half with the team, and focus on that first, and then we'll focus on whatever happens after that when that time comes. But obviously I'll try and play hockey as long as I can. I don't know however long or short that'll be, but look forward to playing the rest of this year, compete for another league championship, national championship, and then go from there. So.
Well, professional hockey, which would be the next step, is littered with players that have a lot of the attributes that you've described, a lot of confidence in their own abilities, a willingness to put in that extra work, and really the mindset to take advantage when opportunities do come your way, because you never know when they're going to come. So I'm sure you'll continue to do well. So I want to thank you for your time today. So any final parting shots?
Thank you very much. No, I appreciate having me on here, and it's an honor. Yeah.
He's Peter Krieger, John Connolly here. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So let me.
We're back. It's John Connolly here. Justin, our producer, doing the duty. I hope you enjoyed that great interview. We had a lot of them. But great interview with Peter Krieger. So good, I'm going to run it again in the last game. Run that one twice. That'll be between periods 1 and 2. And don't go anywhere between period 2 and 3. We have Jack Jensen interviewing Carson Jones, followed by a nice little player profile with A.J. Anello interviewing Spencer Schneider. So a couple good ones coming up between periods 2 and 3. So Brad, 1-0 is the score. Eagles 12 shots to 9 over Lakeville North, 1-0 on the board. What are your thoughts after one period here from Prior Lake?
It's a good game. The game started picking up with a little bit of pace as the game went on, and I think it was a feeling out process. Lakeville North kind of took a few of the shots early in terms of the punches, and their goalie held them in. And as the game started going in, obviously it got a lot better for North in the sense that they got a little bit of zone time, got some shots. But I do believe that Eden Prairie is definitely controlling the play.
So, it's interesting. I mentioned in the first period, Lee Smith has been there. He's won 2 state titles. Flip over to the other bench, Eigner, undefeated state champions a couple years ago. Was it 4 years is all? So, it's a guy that's been there. He knows what adjustments to make. There's some stuff discussed between periods. And what do you think they're going to be looking for here? Anello comes out with Smith and Schneider. What do you think they're going to do? Is it just, hey, guys, effort, or is there something tactical, like maybe sending an offside wing out of the zone and trying to stretch pass? Second period, what do you think they need to do?
Well, I think you're going to have to keep coming at them. North isn't bad. They're just threw an L up with the top line, so I think they recognize we got to get some offensive going. Probably go 1-2, 1-2-3, 1-2, 1-2-3, and just get them more time on the ice. I think you just got to kind of outpower them and get your best players out there.
Jensen and Middlestad hook up on a pass. The shot is saved by goaltender Johnson, and now it's another chance. This is John. He's got Pejor for the drop. Jensen's calling for it, but they can't quite get the puck over to him, and he's an outstanding player, and he's always in the mix every shift. But one of the things that I do notice is they ride him so hard, he often gets tired, and late in the game, they just keep going to the well and trying to get him out there. And in that loss to Chaska, obviously Chaska's a very good team, but you know what? It was Chaska over Eden Prairie, not because they kept Jack Jensen off the line sheet, the game sheet. He had his points, but the others didn't. So we know Jensen's probably going to get to 2-3 points today. Question is, how hard does he have to work to get to him? And you can just see that effort every time he's on the ice. Maybe could run down as we get late in the game, may not have enough in the tank late.
It's interesting. I was going over the stat line of all the players on both teams, and I was looking at Jensen's consistency, and it's good to have consistency. After his first game, every game since, he's at least 2 points. So it's something that Eden Prairie knows they can bank on, that he's coming to play and he's going to be on the score sheet.
Gasparini, a little evasive move, pulling it back into the corner. Now he goes on a guitar solo, but paying the price as he's ridden off hard by Rudrud. Brad, you probably shouldn't carry the puck that long when you're a sophomore defenseman. You can't try to break it out yourself. One of those big kids from their team might come and smoke you, and that's what happened there. Heavy on the forecheck is Smith. Smith's father is Coach Lee. He was one of our player profiles earlier. Don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. Connick with a shot. This one hits the ankles of Argett Singer. Wrong number 2. Argett Singer working and down along the wall, battling hard is Santiago. Oh, nice little soft chippy there by Will Height. Nice little touch, and sure enough, the puck comes right back to him. Everybody stays on side. He's got Rudroot if he can find him, and a wide angle shot is swallowed up by Johnson.
You know, fortunate play by Eden Prairie in the sense that the Lakeville defenseman stepped up. I don't know if he recognized that another guy was jumping in the play, and it was still a 2-on-1 after that play. And had he not lost the puck, I think it could have definitely been in the back of the net.
Faceoff comes to the goaltender's left. It's a hard wrap, but it's a little bit too hard. It actually gets to the blue line where it's kept in by Eden Prairie defender. I believe that's Scholes. Right on that near wall, you know, we're pretty high up here, and on that near wall, sometimes if they're pinched up against the near wall, I can't always see what's going on and certainly have no idea where the puck is. DuPont, spin move, bangs it to Levens. Levens can't get his stick on this one, and firing it in high. I think that was off the stick of Batchelder. He's down in the corner on the forecheck. Batchelder's college committed to Colorado College, just recently gave that verbal commitment. 4 players on Eden Prairie, the Middlestat brothers, both Minnesota, and Jensen. Jensen's been committed to the University of Minnesota, and boy, looks like he could help a college team right now. A little bit active there with the stick. Batchelder swinging it around. Brad looked like a samurai. Big snapper comes in high. Holt can fire that puck, but goaltender Johnson's right there, gets the save, and good rebound control as he pounces on the cover.
This was really a mismatch on this shift. Lakeville was holding on for dear life during the shift, and fortunately, they were able to get a whistle and get some new troops out there and go to the well again.
I think shots were 12-9 after a period. It's 15-9 now, so early going here. Eden Prairie has come on the attack. They've gotten a few shots to net, and they've established a great deal of zone time. Here comes Munson with a wrap pass over to Schneider. Schneider lets it go, and they wave off icing. I guess somebody tipped it, and now it's picked up behind the goal by Langfells. Langfells out to Pejor. Pejor can't get it on his stick, and a nice tip opportunity from Smith. Where's the puck? Eventually, it winds up under the mitt of Engelbrecht, but Brad, that might have tied the game.
Yeah, I like when you get number 1 line versus number 1 line. You got a lot of talent on both sides when you get that matchup. So this should be a fun shift. The next 45 seconds should be good hockey.
Pearson fakes the shot, plays this back to Munson. Munson with a big shot goes just wide of the mark. Chipped out to the blue line, jump ball, and knocked down by Pearson. Kept in by Connick, and now down into the corner goes Langfells. Langfells can't quite get there. It's a little bit too far for him, and Munson chips it in deep. So I learned since the Thanksgiving tournament, Munson's father, Jeff, a baseball player at the University of Minnesota, when I was in attendance there, and he's from baseball parts of Jefferson, not one of the hockey kids, and I think he played basketball as well. Told me they won the state tournament that year. I told him I wouldn't have known anything about it as I spent my time in the ice rink. Anello in pursuit, works against Langfells. Anello, nice pass out here to Schneider, and big shot there. But said it yesterday, I'll say it again. You don't notice any signs of Anello having been out. He's really moving well out there, looking awfully good.
The way he got to that snack bar Christmas Eve, he was looking pretty good there too.
Oof.
So he was moving all right.
Tough crowd out to the neutral zone. Grabbed by John. John overlapping Jensen. Tries to stick handle through 2.5, 3 white jerseys. Loses the puck in the process. Jensen in pursuit. Slithering down into the corner, working against Anello, and it's tipped over to Gasparini. Gasparini's pass is kind of a flubby one, and out to Weckman. Weckman kicks this one up ahead to Santiago. Santiago with a shot. Actually a pass over to Weckman. The way he was loading up to fire, I thought the shot was coming, and one more pass to Weckman, and Weckman couldn't quite get his stick on that one. Weckman and Lee in the lineup. Weckman and Lee, they're still rotating through. Brad, if you recall, there was a state championship football game. Lakeville North did win the state championship. And there was a couple players they were waiting for to try out. I don't know if they're locked and loaded, making the varsity like the St. Thomas kids, Herzog and McFadden. But rosters not quite totally set. And Lakeville day-to-day going with different players. We have Weckman and Lee both playing, and I don't know that they played on Thursday, or maybe it was, yeah, I think it was Thursday. They might have been not dressed in the lineup. Down into the corner is Davidson, fighting a battle with the forechecking Wilhite. 2 and 2, 2 and 2, 2 players from each team, and nobody in proximity. Usually when there's 2 and 2, somebody's lurking just outside. Gasparini's staying in front of the net, and eventually it's Kranz that comes out with a rink-wide pass to Levens. Levens gains the red line, gains the blue, and his shot goes into the far corner. Nice play here. I mentioned him a little bit in the pregame. Krebsbach gets the puck onto his stick, gains the zone, and working it in wide. Nice little spin move and dumps it down to the end line where Rudrud plays it outside of Gretzky's office. Little snake shot there from Smith. You could see what he was trying to do is slither the goalie off the post and then bank it in off of him. Kind of a creative play. Sometimes that works. Wrapped back in by Argett Singer. Everybody on Eden Prairie for the forwards goes off for a line change. Behind them you've got Argett Singer and Scholes. Levens contending with the forecheck. Smith gets it onto his stick and plays it over far side to Shandorf. Shandorf back to Smith. Smith with a little bit of an off-balance shot, misses far side, and easy breakout for Eden Prairie. They chip this one up in front of us. Doesn't quite connect, and on pursuit you have Lil Jord. Oh, turnover. Short-lived, however, as it popped up high, and Eden Prairie couldn't reel this one in. Batchelder working with Holt. These players were Bantams last year. Bantams, one of the top teams in the state. I think Maple Grove won the state tournament, but Eden Prairie wasn't too far behind. Kept in at the blue line. This one bounces off the defender's leg. Schultz took a shot, and it was a good opportunity there if he could have got it onto his stick. We saw Batchelder right there waiting to pounce on the puck. Argett Singer cuts over to his forehand, loses the puck in the process. Smith plays this back over to Munson. So, Brad, we've gone a while without a whistle here.
The game's picked up, and not just because there's no whistle, but I think Eden Prairie had a chance to put some distance between them, and they let Lakeville linger around, and I kind of think Lakeville might get the next goal.
Interesting sequence there as Santiago got to the bench. He was trying to get off. He had Smith wide open. Instead, he chipped it in deep, and you know, he obviously was tired and not taking the time to look around and think, because Smith was, you know, not a player within about 10 feet of him. So, Brad, these are some of the teams where my list is a little bit short. I'd like to talk about the graduates of these schools. And if you've watched a few games, you know the people from the school that you follow. So, for the Lakeville folks, 2 Eden Prairie graduates that you may not be aware of. Adam Bartley is an actor in a show called Longmire. He plays a character named the Ferg. I mentioned this the other day, and second day, Greg Erickson came in and told me, you know what, that's a show on Netflix I want to watch. So if you do watch Longmire, look for the Ferg. That's Eden Prairie graduate Adam Barkley. And Robert Remus is an Eden Prairie graduate. You won't know him by the name Robert Remus. You'll remember him by his ring name back in the WWF heyday before they changed the name to the WWE. Robert Remus, Eden Prairie graduate, better known as Sergeant Slaughter.
You're right, didn't know that one.
Lakeville North, a short list. I keep waiting for somebody to come up and add some. I pull these off of Wikipedia, folks, and I stay away from the athletes, so wish I could get some help. Composer Bradley Ellingbo, a Lakeville North graduate, and you know the other one, and I guess she is an athlete. I know she is an athlete. I think she went to Lakeville before the school split. Wiz Bachman, now married to Gopher volleyball coach Hugh McCutcheon. She was an Olympic volleyballer in her own right and happens to be my mother's neighbor. Doesn't live too terribly far from Carroll. So Lee enters wide, halfway point of the game. We have 8.5 to go in the period, and you predicted the next goal was coming from Lakeville North. They almost got it right there. Stretch pass to Rudrud, took this pass from Middlestat, and now it's over onto the stick of Wilhite, who's down in the corner and draws a penalty in the process.
You know, they always say in the NHL that you got to control your stick, and the Eden Prairie's players' stick got up in the face of Lakeville North, and high stick, and I guess we'll see what a rested number one power play will look for Lakeville now.
I turned my head to look at my notes. I thought when they went in deep, it was actually a penalty drawn because Eden Prairie was forechecking hard. Actually, it's the Eden Prairie player on the forecheck that got the high stick. So my bad. It is now an opportunity for Lakeville to go on the power play. Might be just what they need. They are now on the power play, and guess who's out there on defense? Shane Griffin. Haven't called his name much and wondered what was going on. So Griffin is out with Munson. Munson over to Schneider, and shot comes banged over just wide by the leg pad of Engelbrecht. Back out top to Munson. Brad, we've got a sophomore, Munson. I know he's a returning varsity player, second year, but got a sophomore quarterbacking the power play. A lot of responsibility, and obviously high value from the coaches. Respecting his maturity to put him in a situation like that.
Yeah, when you're at the top of the umbrella, you got to make quick decisions. You got to make smart decisions, and I think they ultimately want to feed Schneider off, on the dot and let him fire away.
You just can't turn the puck over back there, and you got to put your own offense back on the back burner. Schneider, just like you said, he takes that pass from Munson, fires a wrister, and it's a big save by Engelbrecht. Shots pretty even here, 17-16. There is a difference of one shot. However, Brad, that one shot is the one that went in. 1-0 the score for the Eagles.
It's a good power play by Lakeville right now. They're controlling it. They're not panicking.
Griffin plays this one rink wide, kept in by Schneider. I remember, going back, it's funny, once the season starts, things seem like they're ancient history. This is only 5 weeks ago. I was talking to Jake Annebeck, Trent Eigner, and I believe it was Jake that said, we feel our top line is going to be as good as anyone's. Now, at the time, penciled in Smith, Schneider on the wing with Griffin. And, then Griffin goes down right away, gets hurt. So, they've had a little trouble getting things set. But, it's still the same guys. Griffin's now playing here a little on the power play right now. And Smith, transfer in from Lakeville South. He's a junior, and Schneider, college committed to Bowling Green. He's the big left wing here for Lakeville North. It's the same guys, and Trent told me, Coach Eigner told me before this, he said, we feel we're 2 weeks away from really having everyone. Obviously, things changed with Annebeck going down, but, they felt like they were getting pretty close, getting the football players into the rotation and figuring out where they fit in, getting, what else do we have? We've got to get Anello back. He was injured, and getting Griffin back. His injury wasn't as bad as expected, and he came back sooner than anyone believed possible when he went down opening weekend. So we're not 2 weeks into it yet, all right? He's still got 2 weeks to go till we get there. So interesting test here, and big save by the goaltender on the bench. That's the second time today. There was a waffle save on the bench from the goaltender. It was Wolf earlier for United. That one hit him right in the mitt. We get a stoppage of play.
That was a tough shift for Lakeville right there. Gasparini, got caught with the puck, holding on to it just a shade too long. He's a good defenseman, too. He just, sometimes a shift might just go awry.
The board actually had 17-17 for the shots on goal. Player 17, when the whistle blew, there were 17 seconds left in the power play. Jensen goes back on a guitar solo. He's going to run pretty much the rest of it off the clock, and Eden Prairie now returns to full strength. Jensen is out with Middlestat. John Middlestat, number 9. He's what I call the Middlestat. People are familiar with Casey. Casey plays for my colored commentator's dad out there. We had Wilson Housley here. His father, Phil, is the coach of the Buffalo Sabres. And we got Luke on defense, but John, maybe there's more than 3, I don't know, but of the 3 Middlestats I'm familiar with, he's the Middlestat. This is John, centering pass, gets it over onto the stick of Pejor, but he's marked very closely by a white jersey player. Connick dumps this one toward the goal, and a little bit of a snowstorm there for Engelbrecht as Schneider was coming in hard.
The Middlestat, he's got a great engine on him, and the previous shift, he was the one that was all over Gasparini and put the heat on him. Just tireless forecheck, and he makes things happen. He's the one that scored the first goal, and I think he's got a really good game going right now.
For sure. Still 1-0. We're into the second half of the second period, so it's getting a little bit later here, and 1-0 is your score. Davidson, D to D pass over to Gasparini, bangs this one off the wall, and Now down into retreat. Play it with his mitt is Scholes. Scholes out with Krebsbach, and I mentioned yesterday many times, Krebsbach has played very well and doing a great job. Forward asked to go back and play defense as they move him and Pejor around. Scholes bangs this one nicely up to Rudrud. So nice they named him twice. Rudrud comes through and
that could be a penalty. That was an obvious.
The Lakeville North player had banged the net off by about 2 feet. And right as Eden Prairie went to shoot, we get the whistle. And goaltender made the save anyway. But interesting. I talked to one of this spot to my left has been like the Spinal Tap drummer rotating every game. Greg Erickson said he heard and during passing time yesterday that it's because of the construction of the building with the bowling alley underneath that the refrigerant's a little different, and that's what he attributed the net getting budged so much. It seems to happen more here than it does at a normal rink. Excuse me, and that was the explanation he heard for this. Blame the bowlers.
It's been a good pace this period.
Tradition Company.
It's been a very good pace to this period. We've got 4:41 left. What we have is that good pace is canceling each other out with no goals, but it's not a game that lacks for energy. Down behind the end line is Arget Singer. Fans on the pass and pays the price as he's checked hard by Schandorf. I like Schandorf's energy level, and he's a player that really jumped out at me even back at the opener. You could see a lot of guys at the opener really every time they hit the ice, they were playing with a lot of energy, knowing they maybe hadn't made the team yet, because there were a few guys that were coming off the football team, and Schandorf's a fun one just because he brings so much energy. Holt makes a nice pass here over to Batchelder, and now down along the end line is Kranz. Oh, bad bounce there. The pass hit Hansen in the back of the leg and popped right down into that slot area. Fortunately for the Panthers, there's no gray jerseys there. Levens through the neutral, gains the red line, dumps this one down deep, and right behind the goal, Arget Singer is beat to the puck by Kranz. Kranz, he's working hard. Now he's got some lineys that join him. They've changed up the rest of the forwards, and wrist shot goes just wide by Connick. You know, Brad, it's a season that, it's long, but it's short. It kind of goes by in the blink of an eye. Holt comes up wide side, bad angle, but he manages to find Carter Batchelder right into the slot, and huge save as Johnson got over for that one.
Goalie's best friend.
Huge save. Connick, another shot, and this one gets knocked down before it gets, and it hit Krebsbach up in the arm. He had to go get the puck, but he was waving his chicken wing because that one obviously hurt him. He got a little stinger when that puck hit him in the arm. Nice play here. Circling up is Holt, and Eden Prairie makes that line change. It's still second period, which means they're defending the goal furthest from their bench. It's a long line change, that long shift, if you will. And big shot here from Schneider, and saved by Engelbrecht, who eventually gets the cover.
Yeah, that Schneider has an extremely quick release. It's the best way to be a goal scorer in the league is get your shot off quick, catch the goalie in between his movements.
Shoot quick, shoot often, and shoot hard, and it helps if you shoot accurately as well. And face-off one, back to the point. Munson shot gets through, and a little rebound opportunity goes just wide. Santiago, Johnny on the spot. What was it you said first game? Jet on the spot?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good one.
They're actually double shifting Schneider right now. He's playing with the third line right now.
Two lines. Take a quick break here. This is Tradition Companies.
Tradition Companies is your one-stop shop for all your home and financing needs. From construction, land development, new home builders, mortgages, banking, and wealth management services, the Tradition family of companies has the solution for you. For more information on everything Tradition Companies has to offer, visit traditionco.com. That's traditionco.com.
We get a face-off that's leads to a shot. The puck hits a stick, bounces up into the netting, and we're right back same spot. Brad Santiago's in the face-off circle. He's joined on the left-hand side. Is that 15 or 16? 15. Oh, Weckman's back out. So they're getting a little deeper into the bench as this game goes on, and I think that's indicative of 3 games in 3 days. all the coaches want to play 3 games in 3 days at the end of the season. And for those teams that do make the state tournament, thinking back to this Christmas event is a good preparation for that. Out to the neutral zone. It's bumped back in by Schulz, and on retreat is Davidson. Davidson to Gasparini. Gasparini plays this one to Anello. Anello, chip and chase out to the neutral zone. He sends his lineys in pursuit. It's Weckman and Santiago. Nice pass here over to Wilhite. Wilhite loads up a big wrister and catches the goalie in the mask. It bounces down and unable to get control of the rebound. Eden Prairie manages to maintain the zone. This shot comes right into the shot blocker. Anello takes that one, and let's hope that didn't catch him squarely on the side of the knee pad. That one would have hurt. Ooh, another big shot. This one did get through and banging at the rebounds, but oh, guess what? Net got budged.
Great shot block by A.J. Anello. Those things sting if they get you wrong. You see in the NHL, it's kind of I don't want to say unorthodox because it's kind of the way they block now, but they turn their body, and boy, those things got to sting.
One of the things that a shot block, kind of like taking a charge in basketball, it can be a big emotional lift for your teammates. When they see Anello, hey, AJ's making plays like that, kind of everybody wants to pick up their game and make sure they're doing the little things that make a team successful.
Well, it's the little things, especially in a tight game, that's going to make or break and be the difference. It's why if you decide to not block a shot or you decide, I'll take the shortcut, it usually comes back to bite you in the butt.
Kind of a new thing I know that they're toying with in the NHL. Back in our day, we're right around 50 years old. And not that I play in the NHL, but just talking in general, at the NHL in our era, back in our day, you had a lot of guys sprawling out and then, diving to block shots. And now it's a little bit more controlled, maybe going down to a knee so they don't give up their body. Kind of a new thing, and I think it's Eichel's an example that's done this, is a flyby. They go down and block the shot and then keep going out of the zone. And then the defenders know, hey, if we do get the shot, if it doesn't get through traffic, they can fire the home run. And kind of an advanced way of thinking. Temporarily, maybe you're going to play a man down, but it's creating more offensive chances and kind of waiting for that one to trickle down to the youth game. I don't think it'll be long before players are being taught to do that. Certainly in the areas where they've got, high advanced coaching philosophies.
I think you're exactly right. It is the high-end coaching, and USA Hockey takes a very active approach in terms of the ADM levels of not only teaching coaches, but just showing them different techniques. And USA Hockey, when they went to that ADM model and really revamped USA Hockey probably around the year 2000.
10 years,
yeah. It's been a whole different program because just the structure and the skill levels of hockey players has gone up tremendously.
A lot of confusion, I think, about what the ADM actually is. When they started, they wanted to make the most impact, so they picked the youngest age because those kids had the longest to benefit. And they rolled out what very few people use it by the name it was rolled out as, which is red, white, and blue, which meant the cross-ice hockey. People confused ADM with just telling mites that they needed to play cross-ice, but it's so much more than that. And it's really a coaching blueprint anywhere from the beginning stages all the way up through to advanced levels, trying to make sure players are the most prepared with what's age appropriate. The thing I just talked about, you wouldn't introduce to a squirt team where the kids can't carry together, 3 passes, really more for the advanced, like a midget age. And, this would be high school, the Minnesota equivalent of midget age, where you're getting into some advanced philosophies. So we could go on and on, but that's not the purpose of this broadcast. We've got a great hockey game for you. Final thoughts, 22-22 are the shots, Brad. 1-0 to score, no goals that period, but we got a great one here from Prior Lake.
It's a good game. It should be a good third period, and nice, like you said, 22-22 on shots, and I think both teams, it'll be interesting to see how they come out, and we're looking forward to it.
Football, what? No place that I'd rather be. We've got a great one here from Prior Lake. It's game 11 of 12 in the Hockey for Life. Lakeville trails 1-0. They go off the ice. Eden Prairie's already in the locker room. Eden Prairie leads 1-0. Please stick around. Carson Jones is interviewed, Eden Prairie forward. He's a little bit hurt right now, coming back after the new year. Interviewed by Jack Jensen, certainly a Mr. Hockey candidate for the Eagles. And then it's going to be Spencer Schneider. He's Lakeville North forward, headed to Bowling Green. Interviewed by A.J. Anello, and it's good to see A.J. back in these games. Good to see A.J. back in these games. At the time we filmed, he had not yet joined the team. He was still nursing that leg injury. Going to kick it over to our top-tier producer, Justin. We'll be back in about 12 minutes.
Hey guys, how we doing? I'm Jack Jensen. I'm your host, and my guest,
Carson Jones.
There he is. We're at the Eden Prairie Community Center. So Jonesy, my guy, we're gonna play a little game. I like to call it 2 lies and 1 truth. You gotta hit me up with it. What are they?
Okay. I was born in Sweden.
Okay.
I'm being recruited for intramural table tennis.
Wow.
And I haven't played a game. I haven't played a game all season.
Wow. All right. Those are interesting, man. I'm gonna have to know that. What's your favorite place in the whole world, Jones?
I say if I could travel to anywhere, it'd probably be southern Sweden. It's nice and warm, and it's also like very beautiful with the ocean and a lot of like other Celtic scenery.
And good-looking ladies.
Definitely.
Attaboy.
Blondes.
All right. And my guy Jones, like, I know you're a big music guy. Like, you play music in the locker room. Like, what's your favorite music?
I'm a big hip hop and rap guy. And pretty much anything I can sing to, learn the words of.
So we got like, who's your like favorite like artist though?
One of my favorite is Takeoff from the Migos.
Can we have like a little bit of lyrics though to it, like a song maybe?
Take off. There's an ad lib. There you go.
I love that. Okay. All right, Jones. I know there's a lot out there, but your celebrity crush. I know you got a favorite one. That's.
I'm gonna have to go with Emily Ratajkowski.
Oh wow.
She's smoke.
She's a dime, dude.
She is.
Not a quarter a dime. All right. Well, you know those Eden Prairie girls. You know they're pretty rowdy. What's the best thing about them?
They are. They get excited about anything. Almost.
They do.
They just bring a lot of energy everywhere they go.
Love it. They love it.
It's a great time.
Great. I love to sell you and those girls too. All right, guys. I'm Jack. This is Carson. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back.
The Minnesota Blizzard offer fall midget teams playing at the highest level for 15s, 16U, and 18U. For more information, please visit our website.
All right, guys, we're back. I'm Jack. This is Carson. We're at the Eden Prairie Community Center. All right, Jonesy, we're going back to that game. What's the truth?
Well, why don't you guess? What do you think it is?
I forgot to guess. My bad. Well, you do look like a table tennis guy, but I don't know if that's true. But Sweden, you kind of look like you're from like Russia, so I don't know. But, you know, since I'm on your team, like you haven't been on the ice all year. What's going on with that?
It's kind of a broken ankle. One of my teammates slid under me, snapped.
During captains, dude.
During captains.
That was brutal.
Missed almost half the season, but we'll be back soon.
Hey, he'll bounce back. Yeah. Eagles are coming.
Stay bound.
All right. I'm number 18, Jack Jensen.
Number 37, Carson Jones.
We're at the Eden Prairie Community Center. Signing out. Thank you.
See you at the rink. I forgot what my truth was. Can this be edited out?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Minnesota's hockey culture is one of, if not the best in America. So it's only fitting that one of the best hockey camps in the world is right here in Nisswa.
This is Dan Germanson. Welcome to Minnesota Hockey Camps. We are gearing up for our 39th summer based in Nisswa, Minnesota in the beautiful Brainerd Lakes area. At MHC, there is a culture that breeds success. We offer resident and day camps for boys and girls of all ages from mites to NHL, 9 weeks throughout the summer.
We've had probably 700 NHLers come through here.
We have 32 hockey-related activities per week. Over the years, we have had close to 400 professional players come through our camp, including Division I, Stanley Cup, and Olympic champions.
I'm a little surprised that this camp is still here. To be honest with you, we thought it would be about a 20-year run, and it actually got better.
Visit our website at mnhockeycamps.com. Registration opens January 1st for 2019.
I'm here at Ames Arena, home of the Lakeville North Panthers, here with senior captain Spencer Schneider. Play a little game here. I need two lies and a truth.
All right. Number one is I once got my foot stuck in an ice hole when I was 8 years old, and they had to cut a hole around the whole foot of me to get it out. My second one is when the Oklahoma City Thunder were in town playing the Timberwolves, I was at Mystic Lake and Russell Westbrook sat down at my blackjack table. My third one is due to having Croatian ancestors, I once played on the ping pong team for Croatia internationally.
Sounds good. I'm gonna need some time to think about that. We'll come back to that. Favorite place, vacation place, or any place you have in mind?
I would have to go with Las Vegas so I can gamble and see women.
Las Vegas?
Yeah.
What kind of woman you looking for?
We'll get into that later.
Oh, all right. How about music? What's like pre-game music? What do you like to listen to, like in the locker room with your boys?
I usually go with rap from groups from Atlanta who wear expensive jewelry.
You got an artist in mind?
I prefer Migos.
You kind of look like Quavo, I'm not gonna lie.
I do get that a lot.
How about celebrity crush?
I would have to go with Nicki Minaj because she's got a beautiful smile.
Yeah? Sounds good. And what about the best thing about Lakeville North girls?
Best thing about Lakeville North girls is in Lakeville, they're always better on the north side of town.
Oh, is that it? That's what I hear. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
The Minnesota Blizzard offer fall midget teams playing at the highest level for 15s, 16U, and 18U. For more information, please visit our website.
Hi, I'm AJ Nello here with Spencer Schneider here at Lakeville North Arena. He told me two lies and a truth. He told me he got his foot stuck in an ice hole, ping pong tournament international for Croatia, and gambling with Russell Westbrook. I'm gonna have to say your truth was gambling with Russell Westbrook.
No.
It wasn't?
That did not happen.
Your foot got stuck.
That is it. True.
What happened?
I was walking, chasing my buddies, and they pulled a prank on me where they covered the top of the ice hole with slush. They told me to follow them, so I followed them. My foot went straight through. It was stuck for about 20 minutes.
Let's hope you're not that clumsy on the ice rink. All right, that's a wrap. Thank you for watching.
All right. We are back for the exciting conclusion of Game 11 out of the 12 Hockey for Life games. Eden Prairie enjoying a 1-0 lead. No goals, second period. Let me give you a scoring summary for that second period. So, yeah, we have to go back to the first period. The only goal was scored by John Middlestat. And oh, yeah, had a chance on the short break here. Talking to Grandma Susie, she's stoked for the Eden Prairie Eagles lead here. Trying to light a fire up under her grandson, Jack Jensen. She's super excited for this one. So, Brad, second period thoughts and what can we look forward to in period 3?
Well, I think both teams got to be looking at it and saying, we got to take advantage of controlling the first 5 minutes of this game. Set the tone. Don't sit back. 2-0 game or a 1-1 tie, and I think Lakeville's going to come out and just continue to push the play. And Eden Prairie, you got to look at it and say, we got to put some distance here.
Face-off circle is Smith and Jensen. Jensen wins the draw cleanly. Back to Luke. Luke goes D-to-D over to Cam Langfels. Jensen gains the zone, plays this one over. Big shot comes off the stick of John. Banks down off of a leg pad to the end wall. Jensen tries to chip it into the middle, looking over there for Pejor, but it doesn't get through. Middlestat gets bodied up. Good play there by Munson. Munson and John down into the corner. John sweeps out, trying to working against Smith. Smith leaves the puck after the body check, and Munson sweeps in to take it, but they can't quite clear the zone. Brad, they've gotten it to the blue line 2 times, never out. So starting out third period here, Eden Prairie enjoying a little bit of zone time.
This is Lakeville's best line too, and they need to have a good shift without coming out in 3 minutes and not having any pressure.
Connick hounding Langfels. Langfels leaves this for Jensen. Jensen goes on a guitar solo, gains the neutral zone, gains the attacking zone, and fires a wrister. Nobody there in the gray jerseys to pick out the rebound, and it's an easy breakout for the Panthers. Santiago comes in wide. Wide angle shot, looking for that top corner. He had the goalie down, and there was just a tiny bit of daylight.
Right idea there, short side high.
This pass a little bit too far. Wilhite in the direction of Smith, goes the length of the ice, and Gasparini on the scene plays this one over to Davidson. Davidson pass kept by Anello and gains the zone and picks it up off the wall for himself, and now there's a backhand, and you know what? Goaltender didn't have that post sealed up. There was a little bit of room there underneath his blocker. Face-off comes to the left of goaltender Engelbrecht. Credit him, get a chance to talk about these players as the weekend unfolds. He was pulled up off the junior varsity. He wasn't even rostered in the program on the varsity and stepped in. They've used some other goalies this year and trying to get things settled in net. He had a good game yesterday and another good game today. Shutout so far, Brad.
Yeah, he's played well. It's I was talking to one of the Eden Prairie parents between periods, and they started out with 5 goalies in tryouts.
What's that old expression in the NHL or in the NFL? You think you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. You think you have 5 goalies, and maybe you have none. So got to at some point figure out who's going to get that start late in the season. Eden Prairie lost last year in the section tournament to Chaska. That's how their season ended, and Argett Singer going off here. But never too early to start talking about the state tournament and the sectionals upcoming. Eden Prairie is in a loaded section. Minnetonka, the favorites. Eden Prairie. What else do we have? Holy Family, Chaska, who just beat Edina. And probably toss in a private school. Well, maybe no, the private schools are all the other direction. Holy Family. So
that's a meat grinder section.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And then, you go, well, maybe they have Prior Lake. Yeah, they have Prior Lake, who we'll see in the next game. Then you go to Lakeville. They're going to have to beat Lakeville South, Lakeville North and South in the same section. And oh, don't look now, but maybe Rochester Mayo, Brad. Rochester Mayo. I'm hearing a lot of chatter. Possibly the top freshman in the state. Sounds like blasphemy given the seasons that you saw last year from players like Fetchko and Pierre, but a lot of chatter about maybe another player to add to that list, Maddox Fleming. I can't wait to see him play. Met him, but it was unable to stick around for his game. Can't wait to see Mayo, but maybe they'll give these Lakeville teams a shock. Connick, oh, boom goes the dynamite. This is a backdoor Pearson down low on the power play. Pearson puts this one in, and we are tied.
That was a great play. Connick just kept going with it. He had several options, stayed with it, got hooked. I'm surprised the ref wasn't ready to call a penalty on that, but goalie made the save, and like you said, boom goes the dynamite. Guy's sitting right off the post waiting to just ram that one home.
Pearson from Connick on the power play. Pearson from Connick will listen for the second assist. We got a whole new ball game. Schneider gets in on that one as well. And Brad, you know, we had a chance on that period break between 1 and 2. He introduced me to Pearson's parents, and here it is, banging it into the net, and now we are tied. And wow, wouldn't this be a big change? Eden Prairie looked like, with the way they dominated those first few shifts of the first period, you told me you thought they might run away with it, and now all of a sudden they're finding themselves tied early third period action here, and anybody's ball game, anything could happen at this point.
Yeah, I thought this game, first 3 minutes, I'm thinking this thing's going to be a blowout, and here we are.
Credit them for getting things stabilized, and now it's a nice pass there from Weckman to Santiago. Santiago with the big shot, and now it's iced back down the length of the ice the other direction. We get a stoppage of play. Face-off comes down to the right of Engelbrecht. Engelbrecht had the shutout going till moments ago. Nice little play there. Nothing the goalie could do about it on the power play. Lakeville North has leveled this one up 1-1 is your score. .13:05 remaining. 13:05. It's about 6:30 p.m. Gopher game has had the puck drop. We've got one more here from Hockey for Life, and I heard there's a football game going on right now. Nice play here from Batchelder. He comes in 2-on-1, and when he went to make the pass, he had Holt over there. Couldn't get the pass off. It bobbled over to the side wall. Holt plays this one out top. Krebsbach, shot deflected. Krebsbach in retreat. Chips this one up the boards, but can't quite get it out of the zone. And nice forechecking effort here from Shandorf. Shandorf to Levens. Levens, bobbles out in front of the goal and to the sidewall where this is Holt. Holt, fast feet through the neutral zone, goes outside, inside, picks the puck back up, centering pass, and whoa, Batchelder was right there. These two have really seemed to pick up just in the last 2 shifts here. A lot more chemistry between those two. The last couple shifts, Brad, it's noticeable. Middlestat, Luke, guitar solo. Dumps this one down deep, and first one to arrive on the scene is Pejor, Sam Pejor, one of the 2 Sams on this team, also Sam Wilhite. Jack Jensen, neutral zone, plays this back to Luke. Luke all the way over to John. John coming in wide, and we've got nice chemistry combinations here. Luke and John seem to be working well together. That's not a surprise. They are brothers. Also, Batchelder and Holt, they were on the Bantam team last year, and a lot to build on off of these last 2 shifts. If Eden Prairie can keep finding a way to connect with each other, they'll generate some scoring chances. It's inevitable.
Starting to see a lot shorter shifts now. You know, obviously 3 games in 3 nights.
So I'm guessing at college level, you never had 3 games in rapid succession, but it's 2 back-to-back is customary. Is there anything like that you're faced in a college term or something? 3 games, 3 days?
No, you're not seeing that.
Never.
And even looking back in the college days, hockey used, because the way Boston is, and you have all your opponents only 20, 30 minutes away from each other, they'd play a lot of Wednesday, Friday games or Wednesday, Saturday. But now you see just the back-to-backs.
Yeah, you had a tight geographic footprint there, Hockey East, when you played. So, ladies and gentlemen, Brad Atoll is so old.
At Hockey East.
How old is he?
Yeah.
Brad Atoll is so old. Brad played at Merrimack and wore Cooperalls.
Remember those?
You did, right? You wore Cooperalls.
They're pathetic.
There's one player pictured at Braemar where they have the college players one player pictured wearing Cooperalls, you know it's Matt.
Matty.
So they were, you know, if you're wondering what was the end of the Cooperall era, 88 high school graduates, so 88, 89 season. Merrimack must not have had the budget to go back to the short pants with socks. He's pictured, they were Breezers, or they were Cooperalls that year.
Well, part of the reason was the Philadelphia Flyers in the NHL used to wear them, if you recall.
Oh, the goaltender's down, and he's unable to get up, and we eventually get a stoppage of play, but there was about 3 seconds there of the goaltender being down, and that left 80% of the goal uncovered, and now they're checking on him. Santiago takes a look, wants to find out what's going on with Johnson, and this would certainly change things. So you see Meyer on the bench grabbing his leather, and he's trying to figure out if he needs to go in. Let's hope the goaltender's feeling all right.
Yeah, he really needs to get the license plate of that truck that just went through the crease, and I think he was going one way, and the Eden Prairie player was going the other. You know, as great as this goalie has played today, Lakeville does believe they have a 1-1 punch. So that in the sense that they like both goalies, I think they just rotate. So it shouldn't be too much of a drop-off one way or the other.
So, Brad, Cooperalls, my sense, what I've heard is that they went away because you just slid too far. If you went down to the ice, you couldn't get back up. What did you experience playing in Cooperalls? Was that the case, or was there some other reason they kind of went by the wayside?
You know, it's probably more of a fad. I really, really disliked them. You could tell you were carrying extra weight. You know, at least when you're wearing socks and pants, you felt more streamlined. That you could cut through the ice or through the air. But I thought they were just bulky. It was like wearing snow pants, and it's like, come on, are you kidding me?
They looked pretty cool when they first came out, though. You got to admit, like you said, the Flyers and the NHL was like, wow, those are never seen anything like this.
You know, the one thing that they did do is they made you look extremely big, because you're wearing pants that really go just below the rib cage, and I mean they're probably, most people were say 6'1" in the league, so they're long pants. Everyone looked really big. Even me at 5'11" looked big.
Interesting stuff. So let's get you a game summary here. First period goal was scored by John Middlestat for Eden Prairie, gave them a 1-0 lead. No goal second period. Lakeville North just recently tied it up. That one came off the stick of Pearson, kind of down low on that back door. Shoveled it over Connick, and Pearson picks up the loose change, bangs that one in. Other assist credited to Schneider. This is a harrowing moment here. We'll learn more about the condition of the goaltender Johnson after the game. Johnson goes off. He's injured on the play, and that means that Mayer comes in cold. May not be a problem, though, because he's an experienced goaltender and has played very well for Lakeville North.
I'm surprised he's not getting any shots. You know, usually on an injury, a goalie should get shots. I mean, it's not like they're pulling them. This is the goalie we saw in that 5-4 or 4-3 overtime win against Cloquet in the opener.
Jensen steps into the face-off circle. He's joined by Pejor and John. Right D is Middlestat. Luke plays this one down low onto the stick of Pejor. Tries to force it out into the center. You got Jack Jensen trying to get down to that dirty area, though. He's not shy of contact. He's trying to get down low, and they're just going to try to get that greasy goal, it looks like.
Well, that's what's going to probably score the game winner at this point. But if you're Eden Prairie, you got to start getting some shots to him, and hopefully he's, you know, not mentally tuned into the game quite yet.
Big shot comes from the point, and that one goes into the net. Looks like a deflection. Came off the stick of Luke from the blue line. 2-1 is your score. Did you see what happened? It came off the stick of Luke, but I don't know what happened between then and when it went and tickled the twine.
Well, I think Lakeville is saying it was kicked in. And, you know, the coaching staff for the Panthers right now they're not happy. So it seemed like it was a clean goal, but maybe it was kicked in. I don't know. They're putting the other goalie back in.
So maybe he's feeling better. Nonetheless, a couple moments in goal for Meyer, and he couldn't do anything about that one. It looked like it was going wide, and then it deflects into the goal. It's 2-1, Eden Prairie leads. I'm going to listen to the public address, Brad, when he reads this off. The shot definitely came from Luke at the blue line, but it's possible it's credited to somebody else. And, you know, you can go back and rewatch this one in the archives, get a good look at it. But from here, I think it's going to be Middlestat off a defender from Lakeville, but we'll listen to see how that one's credited. That's Luke from John. Matthew and Mark are feeling left out. Luke from John, and it is, in fact, the shot from the point that goes in, deflected off of a Lakeville North player. 2-1 is your score. Still half a period to go here. We've got 9 minutes to go in this one. Thriller from Prior Lake, a game 11 of 12 for the opener. They get the puck out to the neutral zone, picked up by Wilhite. Zone entry. Nice pass from Smith onto the stick of Redruden. A nice play there defensively. Did you see Munson get that and tick it away right as he went to shoot? Real good play there by Munson.
It's a great play. He squared up well and blocked that shot. It was good job back checking and getting back in the play.
Connick with the shot. Now Lakeville looking for a little bit of equalizer here. You get pucks down low. You never know what it's gonna do. And trying to just get bodies and pucks down in front to slide one past Engelbrecht. He makes the cover 2-1, 8:38 to go in this one.
I like that play by the referee in that case. You know, the goaltender, he bobbled it a little bit and he didn't blow a quick whistle, so it.
Out top to Gasparini. Gasparini with a snapper. This one winds up onto the stick of Davidson. Davidson down Gretzky's office. Santiago over to Weckman. Weckman on the half wall. Chips this over to Santiago. Overlap play to Weckman. Weckman circling back behind the goal line. And all of a sudden, real good zone presence here. It's been on a Lakeville stick for about 15 seconds, and there's gray jerseys everywhere. Rister, this one hits a skate boot and goes over to Weckman off the wall. Nice play here by Krebsbach. I can't say enough good things about Krebsbach. Very impressed. I grew up playing both, Brad. I played defense first, moved to forward. Well, I played forward in Mites, and then when I got to Squirts, they made me a defender. And then when I got older, I went back to forward, and then went back to defense. So I grew up playing both. You kind of have kids a little bit more specialized these days, and yet we see Krebsbach going back, Pejor going up, and both of them doing a good job today and yesterday.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of spots for you, especially at the next level if you can play forward and D, because you'll dress as maybe the 7th D and be the 10th forward. So there's a lot to be said if you can play both with directions.
Well, that's right. They're letting the NCAA teams, I think this is the first year, right, where they get the one extra skater. So they're dressing 21, not 20. It's a little different. You know, there's one extra player now, and most teams have gone with the 13th forward, and some teams have gone, I think, with the 7th defender. But nonetheless, yeah, as you mentioned, you know, there's just more opportunity, and credit Lee Smith for, you know, tinkering like we've talked about, and credit the kids for answering the bell. You would never have guessed Krebsbach was playing forward Thursday and Pejor defense on Thursday. Here we are Friday, Saturday. They're flipped. Both of them doing a great job. Eagles with a 2-1 lead, 7 minutes to go. Great game here. Jensen, he knifes through the high slot area and couldn't quite get the shot off, so he passes it back to the blue line. Langfels dumps it in deep, and now they get this back to Jensen. Lets it go through his legs, back to Luke. Luke with a shot, looking for a tip, and it's Munson that kicks it over in the direction of Smith. Right side, this is Koenig. Koenig plays this one down. It's interesting, Brad. Top line guy, one of the players they're really counting on for a lot was Griffin. He hadn't been out on the ice much, but they used him in a power play situation. So it kind of walked me through what kind of injury might you have that you're not able to play even strength, and then you get to a 5-on-4 and they put you out there.
Yeah, I think, you know, if he's not 100%, but they can utilize his offensive presence on a power play, you want to keep him out there.
So maybe less of the skating, more of a half-court game in the basketball terms. So I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but you have noticed conspicuous by his absence is Griffin. Yet they get a power play. We did see him earlier in the game, so I know he's dressed. I know he's skated at least one shift. So face-off comes to the left of Johnson. 6:30 to go in this one. And Brad, at this point, I'd say the clock's the enemy. They've had 27 shots that have made it to the goal, but Lakeville's going to be running out of time. Nice shot here off the stick of Rudrud, and Lakeville's running out of time. They trail by 1, and if they were to give up one right now, it would be devastating. And as we saw in the game that just ended, they sure don't want to take a 5-minute major.
No, I think they're okay. I mean, really, they've kept the game close. They got to look at it and say, you know, this goalie for Eden Prairie is a young kid. He hasn't played much. I'd take my chances and just keep peppering him.
Levens with the shot, rebound by Davidson. He misses just wide, but good scoring chance there for Lakeville North. Now they've gained the zone, and all of a sudden you got 4 players on Eden Prairie standing around watching. They're very passive, trying to find a defensive structure here. Maybe they're tired, or maybe that's just by design. Krebsbach gains the red, gains the blue, and fakes the shot, brings it out wide, takes the shot from a little bit tougher angle, and it's swallowed up by our goaltender. Nice save here by Johnson.
You know, we've had some good back and forth. It's been a good third period. Both teams have had solid scoring opportunities. I won't be surprised if Lakeville puts one home on in the next few minutes.
Well, that would make it a level game, and should we end regulation tied, there is an 8-minute overtime. Teams would play 5-on-5, but they do switch ends. Wow, Brad, that one hit the inside of the top of the stick, and then instead of ticking down, it ticked just over the crossbar. Almost a fluky little bounce there that might have led to a goal.
Good play by Middlestead on D. Just the fact that he's still pushing the play and pinching. I like the fact that they're not just sitting back.
Oh, this one's a square little puck that bounces out to neutral, and Santiago had it on his stick. One of the defenders, Cam Langfels, had pinched up, and the puck got behind him, and you got a feeling if Santiago wouldn't have been stationary, maybe had a stride, he might have been off to the races. It's so frustrating, you know, when in hockey there's transition, you go here, there, and sometimes you are flat-footed. When the puck pops to you and you're flat-footed, you're like, oh, if I were only moving, I could have done something. They win the draw over Langfels. He's going back in retreat. Plays this one over to Luke. Luke surveys the situation, plays near wall. Nice pass here, goes through John. John up to Jensen. Next pass doesn't quite connect, and here we go. 4-on-2 as there's a down player out to the neutral zone. Connick gains the blue. Schneider with that big shot goes to take it, and good play there by Luke to get a stick on it and deflect that one. No harm, no foul. Out to neutral zone. Here comes John. John tries to work against the defender, and he's bodied up nicely. Great play there by the sophomore Munson. First one over on the far side is Scholes. Scholes dumps this down to the end line. Munson one more time. Chips this one over in the direction of Schneider. Schneider out to the neutral zone. Smith, he's got Connick. He's also got a trailer here high. He plays, looked over Pearson, chooses to shoot instead, and goes just up over. How's that zone entry? A lot of guys moving, a lot of passing and shooting options there.
You got to hit the net. You'll never know if you'll score if you don't hit it, you know?
I saw you shaking your head. I was wondering if you're looking for him to maybe choose a different path in the zone, maybe make a pass, or if you wondered something different about the choice to shoot. So you like to see that one, and maybe, you know, what I've heard called the pass off the pad sometimes. You may not fire it by the guy, but if you give a juicy rebound, maybe guys crash in the net could get a greasy goal.
Absolutely. You know, the goaltender for Eden Prairie hasn't handled all the shots cleanly. And just based on that, I think you got to start looking for, let it hit them and look for rebounds.
Got the girl wearing the boots with the fur. She's going to need them because it's about 10 degrees outside when I arrive. Maybe later, now that the sun is down, it's gotten colder, but it is hot in here. Late 3:40 to go. Third period action. Eden Prairie leads 2-1. Both of these teams came into this game with a 1-1 record this weekend. Both of them would love to win this one. They could leave the Hockey for Life with a winning 2-1 mark. Eden Prairie's got the lead. They've got the zone, but they don't have the puck. Opportunity for a breakout here. Bringing it out is Kranz. Kranz up ahead to Shandorf. Shandorf through the neutral zone. Dumps this one in and onto the stick of Langfels. Over to Luke. Luke chippy out to the neutral zone. Over the stick of Wilhite, and on retreat, it's Gasparini. Down to the 3-minute mark in this game, and Brad, I'll say it, now the clock is no question the enemy of Lakeville North. They don't have a whole lot of time. If they don't do something quickly, they might just have the clock dwindle down on them and run out to the 0 mark.
I do like Lakeville's breakout. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll come out on the strong side, and they're looking for that winger on a cross-ice pass, and they've done it quite a bit. They seem to get out quite easy, you know, out of the zone pretty easily.
Breaking out is so important, and when you watch a team do it well, you may not even really notice what they're doing well. But when a team gets stuck in their own end and they can't find it out, then you realize, geez, you know, you just can't win games if you play a good portion in your own end. You got to get the puck out. And they've done a good job. You're right. They have managed to get 29 shots to goal, but only cracked the code once. They trailed 2-1 late, and what's been a very even, well-played game both ways. This is something both coaches could be proud of. And 2-on-1 opportunity here. It's Batchelder working with Holt. He looks off the decoy and takes the shot, but it hits a stick from the defender and bounces up into the back glass. 2:22, Brad, 2:22 to go in this one. And what point do you think they'll try to get the goaltender out?
I think you gotta start looking. I really like about the 2-minute mark, no matter what, and just put a flurry on them.
Chipped off the glass. This one's behind Holt, but picked up by Batchelder. He loses his footing, and now all of a sudden it's Santiago taking it behind Lakeville goal. Chips it out to the neutral zone. Nice play here to recover by Weckman, but Pejor steals it away from him. Pejor with 150 takes it down into the corner, and at the very least he's going to run some time off the clock as they've gained the zone. Oh, blowing a tire on that right point is Luke, and good thing Jensen came in to get the puck away from Kranz, but he goes down.
On Lakeville.
Penalty on Lakeville as Jensen slipped and fell, and that's devastating. Now they'll play the remainder of this game shorthanded. There's 1:40 remaining, and they are shorthanded.
Just bad timing. You know, he unfortunately got caught up in the play and turned around and ended up accidentally tripping him, but the referees don't take the accidents into account.
We have a timeout called, and you know, certainly something we saw in the Chaska win over Edina. You get to these later parts, and you know, there's a message from the coach: play hard, play hard, play hard. But sometimes playing hard can increase the likelihood of a penalty. This is pretty significant to kind of, you know, almost cements the deal. It takes Lakeville out of a chance to win the game.
Yeah, I think you know, anytime you're going to get an empty net for, in this case, for Eden Prairie, being able to shoot into an open net, you got to like their chances at this point.
The only upshot for the team that's shorthanded, now when they pull, they'll skate 5-on-5, and they do have the ability to just throw the puck down, and there's no icing call. So a lot has to happen. A lot has to go well for Lakeville to find a way to crawl back and find that tying goal. They've got a face-off. They're stuck into their own end. Johnson will start with a minute 40 left. He will be in the goal. If they can clear the zone, gain possession, and get the goaltender off, maybe they can get a fifth skater, but more likely, you know, we'll see that if Eden Prairie can do a good job closing this one out, Lakeville may never get enough time out of the zone to get the goalie out, and they might be stuck in their end for the last 100 seconds.
You know what I think is going to happen is they're going to get the play, and what they should be doing, and I know that the coaches are probably telling them, get the puck, just dump it, and we're going to pull the goalie at that point. And just get the puck down and see if Eden Prairie can't go 200 feet with it.
No matter what play they're drawing up, it is absolutely critical that they win this draw cleanly. They're going to look across in the face-off circle at Jack Jensen. Let's see who takes the center spot. It might be Smith here for Lakeville. You can't really do anything unless you win the draw. If Eden Prairie wins this draw, they're going to be able to just kind of work the perimeter for a little bit and take time off the clock. Smith does exactly that. They work a wrap pass all the way to Schneider, and nice defensive play, but we've got an interference call, and that certainly changes things. Credit them, Coach Eigner, Coach, you know, Coach Joel, Coach Jake, you know, or Jake and Jake. They did a great job over there with the play call, like you said, because pushing that pace, Schneider, you know, high-powered player. He forces Rudrud to engage. Rudrud never lets him go, gets the interference call. Now all of a sudden it's 4-on-4. They've gained the zone, get the goaltender out. 5-on-4, they're on the attack. Wow, those last 9 seconds sure change things.
Senators, if you ever wonder if a face-off is critical, they are, because that allowed Lakeville to run a set play and get that penalty.
Lose the draw, and none of that happened. So you're absolutely right. Smith over to Schneider. Goaltender is out. They gained the zone with that penalty being called, and this one comes in high. He misplays it. It gets. Oh, no. They say it's no goal. I'm sorry. I thought when the goalie put the mid on it and dropped it in the goal, it was going to be a good goal. Evidently, Brad, you saw it. Lakeville got a stick on it?
I thought it was a good goal.
Oh, you thought it was a good goal,
I thought
too.
the goalie muffed it, to be honest.
That's what I thought.
In fact, he had his glove up. I could have swore he muffed it.
Evidently, there was a tip. Maybe that's why he couldn't get the hand on it. Puck was played with stick over the shoulder. We get this one coming all the way back down, and whoa, my heart's a-racing. That one was a crazy sequence. We're still 2-1 Eden Prairie. Luke, wisely, he noticed, you know what, if I take this toward the goal, somebody's going to make a shot block here. Let me just get it down in the corner and run some time off. Goaltender comes off one more time, 4-on-4. Batted out to the neutral zone. That's now 5-on-4. No goalie in the Lakeville net. Plenty of time. 1 minute to go. Brad Smith pulls up on the wall. gets this one over onto the stick of Santiago, and they're just trying to throw pucks down low. Jensen's going to tidy this one up with an empty netter. That's going to seal the deal. It's 2-1, make that 3. Jack Jensen seals the deal. Lakeville's going to go down here. You know, it's unlikely they'll get 2 more goals. Final's probably going to be 3-1, but Jack Jensen with a nice play, got it out to the neutral zone, and wow, what a game.
Yeah, it was a tough break for Lakeville there. I think, you know, they should have pulled it out and set the perimeter up, and unfortunately, just a ill-advised turnover, and next thing you know, Grandma Susie's thrilled.
You're right about that. Grandma Susie right in front of us. She's throwing a party down in section 101. Unassisted, even strength, empty net goal. Lebens with a shot. He didn't miss by much. That one was just wide. Lee on the forecheck, and 28 seconds to go in this one. Looks like it's going to be a win for Eden Prairie. Down to 20 seconds to go. 2-goal lead now with that empty net marker, and that should just about do it. Out to the neutral zone. So Justin has done a fantastic job, as always, as our producer. Brad, why don't you start talking about some of the players you might nominate here for consideration. Mark and I, after the last game, going to name a little broadcasting all-tournament team.
Well, I like Schneider from Lakeville. I thought he played well. I thought the goalie really played well as well. And, you know, the second goal by
That's
Eden,
right.
Eden
He wasn't
Prairie,
in.
He wasn't in.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was either of the goalies' fault in that case.
No, but the third goal he wasn't in. The second one was when he was injured. And
yeah.
Definitely a great game for Johnson. Good point.
And I really liked Middlestead. I like both Middlesteads for that matter. I thought John Middlestead was outstanding today. Jensen, you know, he just methodically goes about his business and gets it done.
Yeah, so going to be very interesting post-game thoughts. You know, I'm sure there'll be some talk about that puck that went into the net that was not allowed. They said the puck was played. I didn't see it played above the shoulder, but that was the judgment of the officials. So thank you for everything. Ace, 2 great games, and you did a great job with both. I hope we were half as good as the players. It was certainly a good day of hockey here from Prior Lake. Any final thoughts?
Well, I think I want to thank the 10 million fans out there that are watching this streaming today, and just a fantastic number that we got going. And my hat's off to you guys for the dedication to high school hockey and just youth hockey in general.
Credit Youth Hockey Hub for having the platform to put these games up, and certainly try to do a good job. And like I said, if we could be half as good as the kids, that would be great. Good numbers. I was checking the last couple nights how many people were watching. So thanks to you, all of you out there in the Youth Hockey Hub land. He's Brad Ace Atoll. Cookie, if you know him from the 218. I'm John Conley. I want to thank everybody for watching. Signing off from Prior Lake. Take it away, Justin.